this group is Yong Ishwan and then Eunice. So help each other in coordinating this group because I'll be jumping in between groups to actually see the flow. Okay, the first presenter is Kang Man Yi, and then followed by Yong Ishwan.
Okay,
Fahmi, if you want to start, yes.
The students, they are not supposed to present anything regarding the site before they start doing the project presentation?
They will, because they have done their site analysis, and in their presentation, they will do their own site synthesis from the site analysis.
Okay.
So that we can see their input, because we don't want to hear the general site analysis where they don't even use. So we will specifically ask them to actually personalize the site synthesis so that they can utilize that for their design. Okay, so Mani, okay, take it away. The stage is yours. Make sure the recordings is there. Moderators, thank you for helping out, and we can start presenting now.
Okay, thank you, sir. Hi, everyone. I'll just share the screen first. Can everyone see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll just start now. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Miss Doris. Good morning, Dr. Taki, and good morning, Miss Izati. So, I am Pamangni. You all can call me Elise, and today I'll start my presentation regarding the project. And as you all know that our group is doing textile, and I'm taking inspiration from the fashion, which is what we are most of us is interact with about the fabric is fashion. So I take fashion into architecture. And then the first project that we did is the new grammar of ornament, which is I take the fabric into my new language of ornamentation. Firstly, I would like to say that actually fashion and architecture is quite alike, because actually both of them is providing shelter for people, only that is in different scale. Architecture is in like bigger scale, but fashion is in smaller scale. And I will take and this is one of my point of this project as well. And I take that I take the inspiration from different kind of traditional Thailand textile. And the final one, I'm choosing Sabai, which is this one. Let me explain to you what is Sabai. Sabai actually is a shawl-like breast cloth that only cover the chest area, and it's like wrapping around at the chest area and then drip along the shoulder and then down to the back of our bone, and then it's like flow towards the foot. And this and it's consists of two layers. The inner layers is pleated layers, and then the outer layers is the the finished layer of the sabai. And I'm taking this, taking 2 point of this fabric. The first one is the pleated, and then the second one is drip. Pleated is like some kind of very regular and then very knitted pattern, but drip is like very like hang it and drip it casually. And then I'm taking these two and I'm finding the balancing point for both of the elements. So I'm translating this into the new grammar of ornaments, which is this one, the artwork. So I put the different layers of the pattern at different layer of the sabai, and I also like doing the different kind of skill for the people who is inside this ornamentation, which I mentioned before. And then I also like including material of the fabric, which is silk. And yeah, this is my final artwork. And there are some progress over here. Y'all can see my cursor, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
Okay, so this is the first one that I did, and then second one, third one, and fourth one. This is my my progress for the artwork, and then followed by moving on will be the ornamental building element assembly, and I'm doing. At first, I'm like confusing which building element should I use, so I've been trying like using staircase or baluster or column. So at the end, and I'm also like try and error choosing different kind of traditional Thailand clothing, and I'm also try to use the lomburi, but it's the outcome come like very rigid and which I didn't intended to, because for me ornamentation, for me the meaning of ornamentation is like not meant to be very rigid and is meant to be very fluid and curvy like that. So I at the end I'm choosing sabai as well. So I'm trying to turn the sabai the uh, into a column. So at the end, this is the final outcome of my of my column. So first, the base is actually the dripping part of the sabai. The first step, second step, but at the fourth step, I'm like flipping I'm like flipping upside down the one so that the column, this is the base of the column, and then is followed by the dripping of the pleated pattern and around the column. So this is my final model. So to make it like constructive, I added this part, the skeleton over here, so that it can like support the load from the ceiling, I mean from the upper floor and then to the lower, and this is the like the technical part of the column. There's like 5 different parts of the column, and it's like different degree of dripping the pleated fabric. Yeah. And then as you can see that the material that I'm using for the column is the titanium, because titanium is the most material, because silk is like very glossy like that. So I using titanium like to emphasize the glossiness of the silk as well. So moving on is the final proposal of the project. So this is like kind of the mood board of the project. It's like combining architecture and fashion. So I name it Archi Fashion. And over here, I'm like emphasizing on the fashion and also the body line, and also how the fabric is like revolving and engraving our body, and how it's bring into the architecture. So this is some site analysis of the site. So the firstly, the wind is mostly come from the southwest. This one I will like explain in the later slide, and I'll just show you that some of the SWOT analysis. I'll take the advantage of the side of windy is come from southwest, and then the view of the river area. Yeah. So this is my design strategies. What I want to do in the Pangkachao is to improve the circulation, because over here the circulation is only like one way, and then it's like clustered around different zone of the site. So my main intention for this site is to improve the circulation. And then at first I'm like thinking making it clustered to like increase the circulation of the site, but at the end I'm changing this strategy. So let's see. But also let me explain to you, there's 4 main spaces in my building. The first one is, the second one is the theater, which will located at the rooftop, so I name it rooftop theater. And then the third one is the community area, which is for people like to resting over there, and also the workshop and studio for people to know how a fabric is doing, how a fabric is made. Okay, after that is the case studies. This is what we do about for designing our facade. So I'm choosing the pavilion and workshop for natural concert hall. And I'm choosing this because this is like the facade is interacted with the wind, and then the facade will be changing into different kind of uh, uh, look, so that it fits my intention. And it's also when it's I mean, like when the wind comes, and then the fabric bra will be like drip, and then it's create the drip that I wanted. And secondly, it's if there's no wind, it's only like look like the pleated pattern. So it's also what I intended for. So I'm choosing this one as well. And another reason that I'm choosing this is because one of my proposed space is theater, and this facade is actually can be used to like for projection as a screen at night. So it's also one of my strength for these case studies. And following by doing my own design proposal for the facade. So we will do some material and the construction of the facade. So followed by we'll start designing our own facade for our building. So because in the in the case study, the building fabric bar is vertical, so I'm trying to like make it in a different way. So I put it into a horizontal, and then I add two of them together to adding the profile into it, and then I'm trying to pull the center part upper a bit, and try to create the drip. And also secondly, I'm trying to do not only the one side, but the two side, I mean into like 3-dimensional, like it's create the drip, like the Sabai drip over the shoulder. And then, but the only things that I'm concerned is like is like I mean is interacting with the interior as well. But I want it to be used at a screen, so I want it to be flat. So I'm trying into like different way. The third one and also the final step I do is I try to make the fabric bar into like up, I mean not up and in front and back. So actually this one is step in front a bit, and then this one is like back a bit, so that it's create the drip like the sabai like the sabai surround the chest area, and then pull over to the back. Yeah, and then the flow of the fabric is also like put it like that, because one of the feature of the sabai is also the sabai is like flow along the backside until the foot. So yeah, I'm also like because it's like not long enough or screen for projection, so that I'm adding like flip into it, like adding profile into it, and then also add another like horizontal platform over here, so that the it can be like clearer for the projection. So this will be the final facade for my building. So this is the technical part. I mean, how it's constructed. Basically, it's like holding by the cable, and then the cable is holding the frame, and then the frame is holding the fabric bar. Yeah. So because it's like built on the roof, so this will be the roof structure, and then this will be my facade. So followed by this is like the final project. Okay, here comes the site synthesis. This is our site within a site. This is boundary line and setback line, and over here is the Pangkachao Pier, and then the river is over the sides, and then over here is all like a forest, but it will also consist of like some of the residential area over here, and also a M-Bike rental center in the middle, and also a hotel over the right side. So the wind is mostly come from the southwest area, and then the best view over here is towards, I mean, they have wider and uh, and far and more far distant towards the view is over here and here. And also the circulation, one of the things that I'm most concerned of about the site is actually the main circulation is from the pier along the way to the residential area, and then there's also like the own circulation over here that's like very clustered and not very ideal. So my main intention is to improve the circulation and also interact with the wind. So this is my massing development of my building. I'm choosing the part over here to build my 800 square meter. For your informations, our group is building over. I mean, we can propose all over the site, but at the end we must choose only 800 to like put into floor plan, like make it detailed, so we can actually build all over the site. So the proposed area means that the 800 square meter I'm choosing over here, because this is like consider a more quiet space away from the pier and the M-Bike render. So I'm choosing here. And for me, that craft center is like quite private, but instead of private, I will put it like semi-private, because I want it to be like interact with the site as well. So that I put it over here. It has the interaction with the site and also a quiet area that I wanted for some of the spaces. So I put it over here. I just volume up, and then as there's a existing over here, so I put up the middle part, and then as I have a space of theater, so I make like a semicircle over here to try to build up a theater. And then also I try to increase the wind speed by by making the opening smaller, and then the other opening side will be bigger, so that the wind speed will be increased. And then I'm trying to adding the opening as well, so that more wind can come inside. And then there's 4 bases over here, so I try to like separate them into my massing, and also trying to make the entrance bigger so that people can be like feel like more welcoming enter to my building. And then try to connect everything together. But one of my concern is that from over this side and this side, actually there is no like direct circulation. They cannot go from this block to this block. They can only go from here and then go from here and then go through the first floor, then only can go to the space over here. So I'm solving this by adding a bridge over here, this side, so that I'll zoom in a bit. I'm adding the bridge over here so that the people can be pass through over here like directly without entering to the middle part. And also because like is the radian is not very logical, so I make it workable. So I distance a bit so that make it longer, so that the ramp will be workable. Yeah, so this is basically how my final product looks like. So it's look like this. As I mentioned, that my inspiration is took from the Sabai, so that I take this part as the breast, and then shoulder in the middle part, and then the butt at the bottom part. So that's the Sabai is this one is like dripping around the building, and also dripping around the body parts that I said before. And also I also did some conceptual model. So as you can see that the form of the massing is look very not rigid. I mean look very organic, because I took some inspiration from this conceptual model. And also you can see that it's like a U shape, that kind of thing, because it's like inspired by the body line. Yeah. So, and this is another part that I built in the other side, because the proposed 800-meter was over here, so that I built another craft center connector over here to like guide the circulation over the site, which is my main intention. So that I just like build according to the site, because here is like very packed with the surrounding. So I just like build what the space that I can build. So I build over here and follow the site. I'm also trying to do it, make it organic. So I'm trying to combine the organic and the rigid one, so it comes like that. And also I'm trying to this is I mean like in 2D, so I'm trying to build up in 3D way, and also trying to make it more dynamic. So I add a middle part to be upper, so that people can recognize there's a guidance over there, so people can enter over there, and also make the entrance to be bigger and make everything like flow into one piece. So actually the concept over here is to bringing the people like from the pier, or for the residential, or from the residential as well, so they can like go over here, but also they can like go out to the, go out and enter to my craft center. So this is some space planning and also the schedule of accommodation. This is the draft final proposal. This is a draft final proposal, which is I will do a lot of changes because it doesn't look rigid. It doesn't look fluid as I wanted. So I'm trying to do it like more curvy. So this is my like final proposal, the key plan and location plan. So this is the site plan. So as I mentioned, that this is the craft center connector, and this is the craft center over here. So I'm using the pathway over here to guide the people. Why I'm using circular is because the circular looks more fluid compared to just a straight way, like just a straight line from the entrance to the end to the other entrance. So I make it circular, and circular is like also can be consists of many different of direction coming in. So I make it circle. So this is the connector to bring people from different direction into my craft center. And then this is the graph floor plan. I place the gallery over here, which is most nearest to the pier and also the connector. And also my main space for the project is the gallery. So I place the gallery over here, and this is the bridge over here. So that we bring them to the more to a like consider a more private area, the workshop and the studio. And I place it over here is because it's like more far towards the quiet, more far away compared to the pier. So I put it over here. It's more quiet, and there's a toilet and also office and storage over here. And this is the first floor. So this part will only reach by you entering by the gallery, and then you go up to the bridge. And then this is the community area, which is for people like to chill and chit-chatting over there. And over the area that can like going up to the rooftop, the second floor, to the theater. And this is where I place the final facade. And also I take the advantage from the wind is come from the southwest, so that I put it over here. It's like the ideal position. And then this is the north elevations, south elevation, west elevation, east elevation. So as you can see that the bridge is like an arch, that kind of thing, so that people can bring it to the second floor then and go back to the ground floor. And then the section AA. So you can see that the rooftop theater is over here. The community area is in the middle part, and then the downstairs over here will be the existing building. And then the the main spaces is at the ground floor. And this is another section, BB. And this is some of the external perspective. This is from the view of the hotel viewing towards our craft center. And then the other's perspective, this is like from the river side and then view towards the craft center. And this is the bridge that I say. And this is the another external perspective is from the I show you the plan. It's from here, view towards over here. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Normally there is time limit, right? I can see there is time limit, right?
Yeah. How long did I talk?
Normally there is a moderator, so we have an expert in timing normally.
Okay, but I'm almost the end.
Are you the moderator?
No, I'm not.
Who is the moderator?
Moderator is Essence and Eunice.
And for the first half, can wrap up as soon as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Just 2 more minutes. And then this is the internal perspective of the gallery, and this is another perspective. This is the workshop. So lastly, I'll say that what is the space for? This is like to connect all the people over here, and this is the detail part of each of the area in my project. And then the next one will be the circulation that I say I want to improve. So I have like show the improved potential circulation. The private circulation will be over here is because there's the reception over here, and this is the storage that I mentioned just now, so that people is linked. This is the private circulation, and then the rest will be the public circulation. But of course, if the staff want to go around over here also can, no problem. And this is some of the design strategy highlights. And there's the ramp over here so that the people, the people with the wheelchair can also access to my building, and also the space in between, because there's a garden over here, so that is interacting the spaces together. And also the program layering, because every program is in the different level, so that it can view the river in different elevation as well. So yeah, that's all from me.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
So Doris, do you want to start or Izati, Miss Izati Binti Yahya? Who want to start? We cannot hear you, Doris.
Hello? You start first. Yeah, you can start first.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Please, next student, don't spend too much time, because you know our time is limited, and about 12 something we have to wrap up. So okay. Actually, I was thinking that you will present kind of site analysis and directly will jump to the project. But you presented even the sub projects regarding the facade design and the column, etc. But anyway, regarding the concept that you are using, this sub-bay,
Yeah.
which is you are showing here. As I can see, this concept is like you're trying to apply it on the plan view level, so from up, right? So we can see this, your concept only if we are on a helicopter. We can see your concept, right? But I think I think because it's like your theme is related to textile, so this means, in my point of view, I think it should be very nice if you try to study the different angle of views and you try to apply like this concept, Sabe, so people when they are coming to your project, they can feel that meaning of this Sabe textile. But like this, what you did, you explained on the floor plan. So on the site you can see, but people when they will visit your project, they will not really know that you did this and this. Am I right? Correct, right? Now the
Moni, can I join in your conversation, Dr. Taki?
Yeah, sure.
So got one thing that I'm still very confused is that what is your intention of your building, and how does what's your intention of your building that you want to create here? What impact do you want to bring to, let's say, the surrounding, let's say the community of the craft, or what is the intention of your building?
If my intention towards the ornamentation is that the pleated, drape, and body line. That's three of the.
Yeah, that one I understand. You've been talking like almost like 70% of your presentation of that.
If my intention towards the site is to improve the circulation.
What is the problem of the circulation before your building is in?
I'm sure you all still can see my.
Yes.
Yeah, I show you. It's like all like clustered around, and then the people is like clustered around over here and there.
What do you mean? I'm trying around means like they are gathering around there, or like they want to pass through but they cannot pass through. Is that what is the problem? The actual problem?
They want to pass through, but they hardly have one way to make it over to the pier.
So they want to go to a pier. Is that the main?
My main intention is to attract people into the craft center and also make the circulation more. I mean, like more, not more. I mean, like more control. Yeah.
Control to where?
Last year.
More control in terms of into the my craft center. Yeah, so you want to draw the people into your craft center. That's the main intention.
Yeah.
There's no relation that how you want to improve the surrounding, but you just want the people to come in.
I also improve it like at the connector that I mentioned.
Okay, so that's one thing. So you want the people to come in last. You want to attract the people to come in. So it's from which side? Where is the main people? Which is what I can see is more like the cluster that is on the lower side on here.
Right? The main circulation is over from the pier towards here.
From what you are telling about like the draping, the folding, the pleating of the fabric, where is it locating now?
I mean, like it's in the plan view, and also.
Can you show? Where is it?
Yeah. Hold on. It's in the plan and also in some of the perspective.
Just leave your scene on the plan.
Sorry?
You just leave your slides on the plan.
Oh, okay.
We need time to look at your plan. Yeah, so where is it? You just put a pointer.
Okay.
Where is the facade?
I mean, I mentioned that the whole thing is like dripping around, and then this bridge is as like a sabe, like dripping from the first floor and then towards the ground floor.
Where is the elevation?
Oh, okay. Here.
Where is it?
The dripping is over here because it's like bringing the parts from, I mean like from the chest. I mean, I talk it verbally from the chest, and then it's like drip upper and then to the shoulder and then lower. So it's like, I mean, going upper and lower It's like dripping.
So it's not the actual facade. This is still just a ramp, right?
Yeah.
You,
that
you
kind of
understand what I'm saying? Because this is all how to say, it is not carried out in your building. This is all in your conceptual state that you're talking about. Okay, I have the idea of having the drape here and here, but how does it affects the real conditions of, let's say, the site, how the people are viewing it? So if I'm a passer through and I see this, I wouldn't have get your idea of your textile or where's the drape, because like Dr. Taki said, we're not seeing from top. We are not seeing like, all the all on a plane. So you have to think about how does the people that are actual on the site are about to view your building. So, but you have this drape that you say that is a facade that it has a wind that blow. Where is it?
Oh, you mean the facade?
Yes, I think that's the most majestic gesture.
It's the facade is over here.
So where is it
on it? Because this is like the back side of it, and then the front side will be the other elevation, but it's we blocked by this, so they people can be viewed only in the theater.
Where is it on the plan? On the plan.
Oh, on the plan. Here, at the rooftop.
So that is actually at the pier, right?
Yeah, it's facing towards the river and also the theater.
So you say that a lot of people are actually clustering around. They wouldn't able to see that. Right? You want to attract people in. If this is the most important site synthesis that you are talking about, is to attract people into this. This is not doing you any favor because you are keeping it at the quiet side, right? That only when the people come in, they will know. So your intention is a little bit blurred over here. Is that what you're trying to implement? What you're trying to, from your concept lah? What is the most effective things that having this draping or like folding or like patterns that you want people to see, that is actually not doing you on a favor, because on the planning of your building, it is not drawing people in because of that. So on the other side of the view, it constantly having still, I don't know, because when you show us the perspective at the end, can you show us?
Yeah.
Okay, all this is what is the material of the wall?
Concrete.
So it's all concrete buildings, you see.
Concrete and glass, yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking about your fabric, the textile, and when the wind blows, it moves and things like that. It's not on the face that you face to the clusters of people gathering points, right? There's a few things that you should take note that or that people are gathering there. They don't have a way to go. That's what you're saying. But how to draw the people in from there, and with all the phases here is mostly like it's not like what you're talking about, the fluidity, because of your fluidity is only seen on plan. So I think is that your intention here is a little bit blurred out lah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's from my side. Miss Izati, you want to?
Hello. Yes. From my view also, I'm agree with Mr. Dorish and Taki about the facade. Can you not reflect the platters of the Sabai? I think you can apply your facade, your ramp, and change the ramp glass to the floating Sabai, and your elevation and plan also is not, you apply the Sabai, the plating of Sabai. Yeah, I'm agree with Doris and Taki. Because it's not rigid. Because I'm joining you from the interim Greek, so I'm already safety, right. You need to apply your facade. Like what your mock-up. I see your mock-up, like it's okay. It's good if you can apply your mock-up into your facade. You already do it, but you not apply it into your final elevations and also your plans. So it's not like from your internal view until for the final, do not apply your concepts and what your intention about the sabai. So that's my comment.
Got it.
I still have some comments I want to add, please.
Mm.
As you can see from the facades, it's very clear actually your ramps, they are not compliant to the standard. So actually people with a disability will not be able to join your project using these ramps. They are very stepping. And they are not covered. Imagine if it is raining. This means people, it will be like a prison, each block, they will not be able to, unless they have umbrella, etc. So I believe in a climate like Thailand, which is very similar to Malaysia, you have to consider the climate, things regarding rain or sun. And sometimes you are talking about opening or like taking opportunity of the views to the river, but the windows are very small. It's like a residential building when when you are talking about the views. The views, this means you have to increase the area of glazing, but you have to protect it in the same time. And I can see always there is either small windows or no window. Of course, there is no window doesn't mean it's not good thing. Sometimes it's good when it is a gallery or something. Sometimes we need artificial lighting. And yeah, you have a river. A river, it's a good thing, but it can create problems also. For instance, it's not the same. You build a building very close to a river compared to other building very far from the river. Did you think what kind of foundation you need? Because it's very humid, that area. How much your project is far from the river? 10 meter?
It's far than that. It's about 20 meter, 20 to 25 meter.
Yeah, but still sensitive case actually, because there is a river. And in any time, flooding can happen also.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that all for the first candidate? So I think we can move on to the second presenter, which is Yong Yishen.
Thank you all.
All right, welcome.
Hi, I'll present my screen. Yeah.
So you will spend only 15 minutes?
Yes, I'll try my best.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Essence. Hello, everyone. And I would like to start my internal review presentation. So I'll start off with the new grammar of ornament. Oh my gosh. So this is the mood board poster that we have to create. Basically, the concept of this poster is to redefine fluidity through butterfly movement and textile. And also I have like additional characteristics such as Thailand textiles and then human touch, which I will be talking later on in the process. So for the mood board process, there's a common similarity between butterfly and textile is that they're both which is the fluidity in motions and wave. So I have done two studies. One is the butterfly movement studies, where I realized that the butterfly and the fabric move through time and space. And then the fluidity motion that the butterfly creates, the vortex formation is quite, sorry, let me rephrase that. The vortex formation that butterfly creates when it flaps its wings is similar to how a textile would react. And then on this side, we have the motion study. So basically, I threw the textile on the air, and I took a burst shot of it, and then I overlaid the movement of silk. Then later on, choose the best shots and try to come out with an ornament or an abstract form from it, which is the one below here. And then from additional connection, I had a characteristic like patchwork, which highlights how different things can end up combining into one piece. And then I also got I had also put in the textile process, where from here you can see how the threads and then there's like butterflies moving around. And then the other additional connection is human emotion and how it connects with textile. Like human touch and threads are quite connected to each other. And then the end is the mood setting, where I tried different colors to see which suits the mood the best. But I picked this color because it kind of defined gravity. Carry on to my building element. So for building element, I tried a few shapes and sizes, but I had one thing in mind, which is color, light, shadows, and view. Those are my keywords, and this all highlights to a window. And so these are just some tries out. For colors, I was looking into stained glass because stained glass kind of represent patchwork in a sense, which is kind of similar to fabric style. And below here are just drawings of butterfly movement, and the airflow when a butterfly flaps its wings, and then it creates this kind of ornaments, shapes. So next is the element process. At the start, I actually was looking into two kinds of windows. One is organic window, another one is the dancing window. The organic window is because it expresses the ornaments through the fluidity, and then the patterns inside could reflect Thailand and Thailand textiles. Dancing window is because it has a dramatic effect on the textile flow. So the first attempt was an upgrade version of this site. For the first attempt, I actually used stained glass, and there's like Thai ornaments on it, and then the focus point is the central Thai ornament motif, where it's all connected to the central point. The attempt 2 is also an upgrade to the dancing window, which is an extended window where you're able to see 180 the view. Because the site is in Bang Ka Chao, the view, from this window you can see the sky view, the forest view, and also the river view. And then next on is the third attempt, where I tried to create a bow window with different depth of window, but then the feedback I received that is a bit rigid. So for the fourth attempt, I tried to let it fly, I guess. This is my final element model. So it's a bay window, and this is the axonometric. I'll explain about the ornaments here. So this one is a Thai pattern, so it's like it casts shadow into the interior, and then this in the middle here is an indirect represent of textile process of how it creates into a thread, and then this is the stained glass are actually patchworks that represent patchwork, and then there's a bird, it's called the egret because Bang Ka Chao, like the word Ka Chao means egret in Thailand. Therefore, there's like a sense of place. And then these are just exploded isometric. So what I want to highlight about my element is that from this element, it will help people to be more aware about their surroundings. I have a quote downstairs saying that physical manifestations of the interconnectedness surrounding us. With this window, it could lead people, it could attract people and make them enjoy the surrounding instead of looking at their phone when they pass by. Yeah. So coming up next is my ornamental facade. So when I come into this step, I was looking back at the grammar of ornaments and butterfly, how can I actually create them into the facade? And then I come to a realization that both of them need wind to proceed. Hence the concept of wind and fabric. So basically this concept is how to look into how the texture fabric created when encountered with wind. So these are some examples. And then next is I look into site consideration. I'll talk more about this later on, but basically the existing site is very dim and dark, and people actually use a fabric to like block the direct sunlight to prevent heat from coming in. That's why it's very dark. So the facade needs to have sufficient daylight. And then the case study that I pick is are this tree. They are not really the original concept, but I feel like all this tree has a connection with fabrics and textile. That's why I tried to look into them and try to implement them. So the inspiration that I got was basically, like I mentioned, my keyword are colors and shadows and reflections, because it's also next to a river. And then with all this inspiration, it creates this playful and cheerful atmosphere for the community there. So for the facade development, I use tissue paper to implement it like a fabric, and then I visualize how it would look like, and then I try to draw it to make like a form making. But for facade, I focus on how the depth and like the curves of each fold connect each fold. And then for the development too, I also use the silk to crumble them together, and then you can actually see like that have like all these kind of lines, and then I try to connect all the lines, and then from the lines there's voids. You can see that there's like one full void. So with that void, I decided to make them as skylight or a window. And these are just a development of how it could be. And then this is my facade model. For this, so during the daytime, it reflects colors through the surroundings, like here. It extends to interior and exterior, so people inside and outside could experience this natural mechanism. The reason why it's natural mechanism is because it uses the sun to react, to move. Yeah. And then during the nighttime, when the artificial lights are on, from Bangkok, the whole cultural center will look like a lantern, or like a glow-in-the-dark lantern, because of these openings that is created, inspired by fabrics. And then these are just the structural ornamentation. And then I would like to highlight about the acrylic panel. The color panels are acrylic panels that are attached to inside and outside of the buildings. And then next is my cultural center. First is my SWOT analysis, where I look into the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. So I sketched, this is the existing building. I sketched this is the only exit in Bangka Chao Pier. So you can see here there's like fabrics hanging there to stop the sunlight coming in, and it's very dark and dim. Therefore, the strength is there's a good view, it's very ventilated with fresh air, and there's a very rich vegetation, and I would like to preserve that. And then the weakness, like I mentioned from this picture, is very narrow and dim, and due to the flood, the water rise, and plantations. But the opportunity but there's a lot of opportunity. So basically, since the pathway is narrow, I'll talk about that later. Basically, if we don't fix the weakness, in the future, there will have lack of tourists compared to other pier. Okay, now to my site synthesis, I'll start off from my entrance. The main entrance is from the pier. So from this site synthesis, I actually pick a few points that are potential area, and also the budget for vegetations. When you walk in, the first thing you see is this area. So the reason why it's potential is because it could gain public interest to explore the other spaces of the other site. Yes, and then it could guide people there. And also because this site, there's a really strong wind path, there's a very strong wind path from southwest, so it's very suitable for like drying fabrics, etc. And then basically it's to upgrade the existing buildings and try to make it more OKU friendly. And then on this side is because I would like to implement like an additional panel so it can interact more with the surroundings and nature. And then the reason why this is a potential area is because it's more private space, and that's where the private area should be located. And then these are my bubble diagram. I list down all the spaces that I would like in the community center, and I try to make them, all of them have very strong connection to each other. I'll talk about it later on. Yeah, so from this graph, you can actually see that they have a asymmetrical and clustered shape. Next is for the site development. First, I studied about the site analysis, and then I point from the bubble diagram, I pinpoint the potential area for my future activities, and then I connect each spaces, which basically seems like a function follow form. And then after I point like the circulation of each spaces, I add on the real circulation. So the blue color shows like the circulation throughout the site, and then the red is the direct exit. So the design intention was actually also to direct people throughout the whole site, and if they don't want to, they could just exit through direct exit. And then coming down here, I picked two main areas. One is the pier, and one is the textile park. And then that's how I create the control aesthetic plan, where it came out to be this kind of shapes. The reason why I picked this shape is because it's very flexible in terms of view, and then it attracts people to focus on the surroundings more. And it could also enhance better circulations because of how it's orientated. And then next, from this, later on, I add on characteristic of my facade, like colors and voids.
How many minutes, Eunice?
1 more minute.
How long?
1 minute.
Oh, is it? Oh no. Okay. Oh my god. For my site program, I'll first go with my entrance. So from this entrance of the pier, it connects to 3 areas such as 5, 3, and 2. So for the 2, this is the workshop and craft center. Like I mentioned before, it's actually for they use recycled fabric to make artwork, and then from the artwork, it will be then exhibited in the main hall, which is number 3. The main hall is also where my 800 meter would be. It is the meeting point, and then there's like gallery of fashions and fabrics exhibited every week. And then the 4th here is the exit pathway, and then on top of it, there's a bridge. It's called the textile bridge. I'll mention that later on. And then number 5 is this area. It's the cafe and fabric shops. And this 2, number 8 is ground floor and first floor. Number 8 is actually a mini textile factory where people can go and visit and see the process of textile making. And the top floor is the management office. I want to highlight number 6. It's the textile park. It's where to preserve tree and bring human closer to Pangkachao nature without harming them. So those trees won't be touched, but in between those boundaries of trees, they will have like little activities such as hanging like canopy, so it can shade them through other spaces. And then number 7 is an extended platform. I I thought of this installation for kids to play, and it's also quite near to the riverbank, so it's quite windy there. And then number 9 is the Sustainable Center, which is this place. It's I name it Re-Textile. It's basically a fabric lab where it recycle and reuse fabric and introduce a new approach to sustainable fashion. Like they'll keep experimenting stuff. Okay, and then for my form making exploration, basically this is just to try on the fluidity and height of the site. And like I mentioned, the tissue for my site, I use it for form making. And this is the site model and some design processes. And finally, this is my site plan. Yeah, my site elevation, the full, and then the 3D perspective. And then focusing to my 800 square meter, these are the mock-up that I tried to do so that I could better understand of the space and the height. And then like I mentioned before, the textile bridge, the reason why it's called a textile bridge is because from this picture, you can see like the textile bridge has an escalator, like a transparent escalator that could lead people up. This could, and like, it would be better for the OKU people also, means they can actually sightseeing. They could also enjoy the view. And then the main hall, this is the main hall basically, and there's like this hanging thing where you can exhibit, and it's very flexible because you can remove it very easily. So every week you can change it. Yeah. And then there's the floor plans, my elevations. This elevation with the pathway, and then this is the section of the pier and the main hall, and then the section. And last but not least, I would like to highlight the intention of my whole is it's more about experience instead of it's all based on experience and how it could how the colors will make people feel a more positive way. Thank you. Okay, great. Sorry for taking too long. I'll share my screen. Yep. I'm ready.
You need next time you can remind when it's like minutes. Essence, can you put your slides onto your plan?
My plan.
I think you guys should really cap your presentation because you have a lot to present at the beginning, but actually now we are reviewing only on the last, which is your building, right?
Yeah.
So you should put the load a little bit more on explaining a building. You mentioned that the 800 square meters is only on the main hall. Is that what you're saying just now?
I wasn't really focusing on 800 square meter. I just pick a spot. I just pick an area from the site.
But the build-up area is supposed to be
800 square meter. Yeah, but my lectures, he was okay with it. He suggested to go with this also.
no. So you say that the 800 square meters is only on the main hall.
Yes, the focus is on the main hall
Is
and
this
the
your,
two pathway side.
is this your roof plan or your floor plan?
This is the floor. I only open one. The roof is this. It's here.
Can I see your floor plan? Can you zoom in because I can't really see. What's the scale of the plan?
1 to. I printed on A3, but I think I adjusted.
Essence, the question is what is the scale of the plan?
1 to 100. No, wait. 1 to 100.
Are you sure?
I wasn't, because I was just adjusting to it to make it clearer.
No, I understand. I'm asking, when you draw this, what is the scale of your plan?
I just drew it on AutoCAD. 1 to 500. Sorry.
So it's a 1 to 500 plan over here.
Yes, the whole thing.
Can you go a little bit inside? I'm not sure how to read your plan over here because
No, I just opened this roof. The others are not the 800 square meter. I was focusing on this main hall.
okay, then let's see your main hall. Can I see your main hall?
Yeah. So these are from the plan. It's here. Wait, sorry. These are the elevations of it. And then there's a there's a pathway here for circulation.
Can you see the plan of your main hall?
Here, this is the plan. Oh, sorry, the plan. This one.
Can you zoom in?
Oops, wait. Because it's actually for meeting, like for gathering and meeting point. And then at the side here are the galleries where they hang all the fabrics and everything.
No,
and these are like,
that this is a proper plan that even to show on your design. Do you think this plan is sufficient to show what a plan should be, a layout plan should be? If this is a semester 4 floor plans, I think that it's really incomplete.
Yeah.
There's like, if you only design about this space, which is this is your main space, right? The thought that you're given for this space is really limited, that you can't really say more on this plan, right? It's just a big space, and then there's some small spaces for what, studios.
for
You
this
don't even have an end line for your ground floor plan.
because I was paying a lot of attention on the facade and the
That's a lot
texture.
of them to give a crappy plans, right?
Yeah.
A plan is so important for an architect to convey what the building should be, what the space should be. Now I can't even read your plan. And you said that what you show above it's more like a site plan. Is you do not design any other space, right?
Yeah.
You only design this space.
I have, but my main focus is here. The other space are just on elevations.
Yeah, no, that's not the point. So what you design for your building is this space, especially. And on the plan itself doesn't really relate what program, how does people need to use a space, what is the material, and the wall is just what, a solid wall?
No, the wall have a lot of voids.
Okay.
But it's in my
If you want to
section.
talk about your facade, let's talk about your facade.
Which one?
Which one is the best?
Section.
Okay, then you explain how does your facade affects the speciality or like a spatial quality of your space.
Some of the voids, like here, you see there's colors, and then there's external panel and interior panel. So when the light shines, it will move. In the wall would have colors, and it will move throughout the wall.
Throughout where? You see, your plan itself, the space itself, there's no criteria that you set, right? Like, oh, this the function of here is here. That's why I have more openings. I have more colors. I need to have more vibrant, or another side will be a little bit serious. So maybe a little bit less on the facade. So now what's the hierarchy of a facade? How do you design this?
Through the process of fabrics in wind.
No,
like
that is saturate, right? So everyone you just plug in as you like, not because the space need it, right?
The whole space is actually just an open, like an open main hall for people to enjoy art.
That is the problem. Your space has no hierarchy, right? So it means like I just put on a hall and then I just put some colorful glass on the side, and then that's one space. You design one space. Is it correct, right?
Basic, not once. Yeah, I guess so. But the same function in one space.
Yeah, that's the problem. Semester 4, one function, one space. That doesn't sound right, right? You see, it's good to have all the progression, or like how you test out, how it flows and things like that. One thing is that you end up with colored glass. That's okay. So it's just that how does it affect what the program inside of your space should be? That's the most important thing, because you are designing the architecture, right? You're designing the space inside. So I think that's all for me. I think I'm taking long. Sorry.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Taki or Miss Izzati?
Okay, I can comment.
Yes.
I have a feeling it's like you forgot about the very basic things in doing architecture, like organizing your spaces, and you focus too much on like drawing. As I can see when I see your floor plan, I can see an insect. Can you go to your floor plan? That insect is what? Is it a butterfly or what is it?
Oh, this one.
That one.
It's just like the connection of how once, like I picked two spots and then the connection
Right.
of the curve follows it
But it's an insect, right? It looks an insect.
a little bit.
Not a little bit. It's 100 insect. Is it a butterfly or a firefly?
I'm not sure, but basically it just follow the flow of one point.
Because as I mentioned, you forgot about the basic of doing architecture and you are focusing on making things look nice in the floor plan. So it's like you forgot, your mind has gone away and you started focusing on how to make this look as a butterfly, even though you talked about butterfly and silk in your concept, but it's not the butterfly which produced the silk.
Okay.
So it's very ugly worm which produce the silk. So even in the theory behind your concept, things still not telling. Well, I think the students, they are spending too much time talking about the first projects and they spend only a few time talking about the last project, which is normally the one which we will judge you about. That's why you give us too much information and then we have to focus only on your project. So you waste too much time in the beginning, and then when it comes to the project, we don't see too much compared probably to the other projects, which is not good. Could you go next? More? Okay, go back slowly. Go back. No, go back to the perspective of your here. Stop here. So this is the massing of your project, right? Normally we can see the openings here. There's no openings?
The thing is, it's quite. I'm having a quite difficult time in doing it on Revit. That's why I changed it to AutoCAD to show the voids and everything first.
And you didn't show us any kind of 3D interior view, so we can really feel how the space will be. Because probably if you did that, you will see there is very sharp corners which will not really be helpful for your space.
The sharp corner will be a curtain wall.
Yeah, but I think doing an interior 3D views, it will be very helpful actually in communication in communicating your project, because like this, just 2D, it's not enough to explain well your project and make us feel what will happen inside the project.
Yep. Understood.
As Ms. Doris mentioned, you can see the windows that are just randomly like this, very strange windows, like leaves. Do you think they are enough, these windows?
There's actually skylight on the roof as well.
Where is it, the skylight?
If from here you can actually see the skylight.
The small leaves, this like kind of leaves, they are skylight?
Yeah, the voids.
Okay, this is what I have. Maybe my colleague Izati will add.
Right.
Hello. Hi. Can you please go to your floor plan? Okay. So your floor plan is not like a final presentation for final review, because it's you need to put the scale, you need to put the dimensions supposedly, and where's your entrance, ingress, egress, and then you should learn how to make a final presentation board, because this is not a final, right? If you can see also your elevations, you should put the label where is your main hall and then your dimension, because we go to right now we go to the final review, because this is seems like before your interim review. I just can see you just add on the detail of the elevations. I'm same with Dr. Taki, which is you need to show us the 3D view, where's area you focus. For example, for the east elevations, I think it's better if you can show us the 3D review from the internal, because the 3D review can reflect the shadow if you rendering the reflex of your glass, right? And then for your section, can you go to your section?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your section also, for the scale, you need to put the scale, and then you should focus the jointing. The jointing is some jointing I think is quite difficult. So you need to zoom and then show us where the jointing is logic or not, and then how to connect from the one part to another part, which is what area is this for the left, the back, the
hall.
upper one.
Oh, this one, the left part is the pier.
Yes. Okay.
The entrance.
So yeah, so you need to learn how to draw, and then how to how to present your final review presentation board. Okay. For your floor plan also, I think it's not final. You still not finalize your floor plan, right?
Mm.
Is your final floor plan?
I kind of focus too much on other stuff. It's my fault.
So you admit it. So
Yes.
you not already 100% prepare for your final review, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then for your 3D review, you make it the master plan, and then you review that. So you need to show us this one, 3D perspective. So you need to make a detail. Where's the opening? So you need to apply where's your elevations, So this one still is not a final. You should write at the bottom is this is just means first proposal, second proposal for your final. Right. So I think a lot of drawings to upgrade. Just that. So make sure you learn how to draw your floor plan. Okay.
Thank you.
Another thing, please try not to be limited to the design softwares. For example, you see you cannot do something using Revit, and you take decision based on the limitation of Revit or your knowledge in Revit. So don't make the softwares limit your creativity.
Skills, yeah, creativity. Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. Next, please. 15 minutes, right?
That's all for Young Asia. Next presenter is Lee Jianzong.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. So I'll share. Oops. Can you guys see
Yes.
my cursor?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so my name is Lee Jianzong, and I'm gonna present my design studio portfolio for my assignment. So first assignment is our new grammar of ornamentation. So for the new grammar of ornamentation, I focus on the process of textile baking, which is from fiber to yarn to fabric and to textile. And then from each state to each state, there are processes, which is like spinning, weaving, and dyeing. And from all that process, I simplify them into some words of the new grammar, which is transition of textile. Transition of textile means that it's from a pure form and it transition into a textile type of lines. Yeah, and then the movement of lines, which is the use of line to express the flowing movement in textile by using different intensity of curves, and that's the movement of lines in textile. Okay, so for my design process, first I do the line and form finding, which is by stretching and pulling the fabric, and then show the lines that is processed by making the stretching and pulling. And then I process into making this diagram, which is involved of stretching and pulling a textile, and then you can see the movement that shows in line. And then another grammar of ornamentation is the transition of textile, which is from the random lines and forming into a very uniform lines. Yeah, so this is my abstract drawing art. It uses many different kind of intensity of curves of line, which translate my new grammar of ornamentation. So next is the building element assembly. So I choose a sliding door, which I think because I want to show my movement of lines in a flexible way. So I choose sliding door, a folding door, sorry. So first is I use the curve of line, which is in the movement of textile. And then for the horizontal, I create a horizontal panel and a vertical panel. And then the horizontal panel is representing the movement of lines in textile, which is different intensity of curve of line. And the horizontal ones are representing the transition of lines in textile, which is from a very random light and then into a very uniform light things. And then it combines it structurally. Yeah. So the intention is to create spaces which are flexible by using the ornamentation of in my building element. And then the structurally is also very flexible. And this is some of the views. When it's open and closed fully, it represents the movement of lines in textile. Next, moving on to my ornamental facade assembly. So we have to do some case study first. So my first case study is about a waving fabric structure, which is by the seaside. It's located in Cardiff Bay, UK. And then the waving pattern is representing the wind, and then also the movement at that site. And then my second case study is Aqua Tower. Their facade is using many contour of lines and then create a lot of poles which use the different intensity of curve of line in each level. So, and then I translate it into my new grammar to facade. And then I draw some sketches with the curved horizontal plane. And then this is my first draft, which created this kind of facade. And then moving on to my next level of facade, improved version. And then I created this kind of horizontal curving panels, which added by the curving fabric is different in each level. And then it will create a facade, something like this. And then, wait. Okay, so this is my final facade. So the structure on the inside that's supporting my facade will be a steel tensile structure, which using many pattern of lines and representing the transition of lines also. And then the roof will be a fabric roof. And then there will be a curtain wall. And then my facade, which is the panels and fabric. And the facade of my building is beside a walkway, because later in the site synthesis, I want to focus on my circulation. So the wheels to the facade will be important. Yeah. So this is some of my sense of spaces with ornamental facade. Okay, so this is some of my structural system and details. Like this is the tensile structure still, my curtain wall, horizontal panels, and the fabric. And all this made up to become my facade system. So next, moving into my craft center. So first is the site synthesis. So in our site, there's few area of buildings that I want to explain. On the left side here is a riverside traditional residential houses, which is by the sea, by the riverside. It is traditional kind of houses, like wooden by the river. And then this is the pier. This is the existing pier. And this area is the traditional shop houses, which their shop houses is locating next to each other, like very packed to each other. And then there's no open space there. And then this area will be a covered motorcycle and vehicle parking area. And there will be a residential houses here. So my plan is to remain this part of the building and then eliminate this existing building because of the site synthesis that I want to use that affect my circulation. Okay, so next is the pedestrian walkway and circulation. So this is the existing pedestrian circulation that I draw on. You can see the circulation is, as this type of circulation that's under the building is actually inside, like in between the shop houses. So the walkway is very tiny, and then it's very cramped, and then it's covered by the shop houses. So because the site is a tourist space, so when you come inside, the tourists come inside, they're gonna walk in a very cramped spaces, and then they cannot view into the site with the cramped spaces that which leads them into the site. So next, I improve for the site synthesis. I draw the curve that still holds the focus point from the existing building, but then the walkway is gonna be curved so that they can see the site more into the, when they access into the site, they can have more views into the site. Yeah, so this is the form of the circulation that I drew. And then from the circulation that I drew, I created a very draft building form in between the circulation, because my intention is to make a very open space. So next is this. So between the circulation, I want to create a building, the 800 meters square, not just a building, but then it's located around the walkway. So when they come in, so when the tourists they come inside, they can see the whole site better, and then they don't have to walk in a very cramped and shop houses area. So my design intention is to create a wider and open walkway for pedestrians and cyclists also, because the site is also famous for cycling. And then remain the heritage community existing area over here, because it's very traditional and heritage. And then the form of the building is following the circulation. You can see the circulation, like I drew, like when they access, this is the road entrance, and this is the pier. So if they wanna access the area, they can look better, and then they have a more open air and wider circulation. And then the form of the building is not blocking the circulation. So next is my massing development. So from the 800 meters square, the form, I created this type of draft form, like just showing the area of the form that I created just now. This area will be a bike rental and like an info center. When they come inside, when they come to the site, they're gonna have a info center, because most of the pedestrians are tourists. So first thing must be a reception, info center, and then a bike rental, and then there will be a textile artwork exhibit and a cafe located here, and then there will be a textile making laboratory here. So I created the form. The wall of the form will be angled curtain walls. It will be slanted to enhance the view to the whole site, so they don't block the whole view, and they can access to the view of the whole site and then get the direction very clearly also. And then the roof of the form, it will be following the spaces in the space. Yeah, so you can see a circulation. This is just a draft of how the circulation is gonna get them to the site. And there will be a in this part, there will be a level of, from the facade, the horizontal panels, it will be wrapping around the form of the building to create the sense of transition of lines from the plan. Yeah. Okay, so for the space planning, as you can see, the part that I focus on is the info center and the bike rental, textile art exhibit, and the textile making laboratory. So this is the pier entrance, this is the road entrance. When the road entrance they come in, they can straight walk across the textile making laboratory, which they can look inside the laboratory to see how the textile is made, and then they can access into the site. This is a riverside park, which is an open area to view the river, to sit there and chill there, this sitting area, the pier entrance, and then the existing local housing area. Yeah, and then there will be a restaurant here, and then a riverside outdoor dining area. Okay, so the key plan and the location plan. Okay, so this is my site plan. As you can see, this is the pier. When they come in here, here will be the info center, and then there will be a bike rental area here, and then this is the cafe and the textile art display. This will be this is the textile making laboratory, which from the road entrance when you walk in, when you want access to the site, they can walk by here, access the view in the laboratory, and then attract them to go inside from the entrance here. The entrance is here. It's a covered area, but here is open. I'll show you later. The entrance of the bike rental area is here, and then they go out from here, and then here's the entrance for the cafe, and then this side of the wall is open also. Okay, so this is my ground floor plan. As you can see, this is the table which they are making the textile. When people walk by, they can see into inside, and they can access into the laboratory from here. So they have to walk across here and enter from here. But they can walk across here, and this is the textile art exhibit and the cafe here. When they walk past here, they can attract by the artwork there. Yeah, and then this is for the tourists that come from the pier, this info center here, and they can rent bike here, come in here and go out from here. And this part is a open air waiting area and entrance for the laboratory. And this part, this is the first floor plan, which is only this area. This area is the like a viewing area for this part to view to the laboratory making process from above. Yeah, and get more view to the site. And then this is my elevations. As you can see, this is the pier. We'll access the pier. This is the info center and the bike rental area. This will be the cafe and the textile art exhibit. And this second two level building will be the textile making laboratory. And the use of curtain wall is to give pedestrian the view to the whole site, and then doesn't let them get lost in the site, and let them to view inside the spaces and what they're doing also. And the roof is fabric, and the facade is applied to shade the horizontal panel is to shade the horizontal panel, and the fabric is to shade the inside, and then provide view for the walkway also. And then this is the section. So this is the bike bike rental area. This is the cut section part of the textile making laboratory. This is the exit for the bike rental. This is a broad center walkway from here. And then this side is the textile making area, which they can look in, access the view into it. This is the first floor level, which they can view to outside and to the making area. And then the counter will be here. And then this is the entrance. The entrance is shaded. It's a curved entrance to allow more and bigger and more exposed entrance. And then this is another section. This cut section is between the cafe and the textile art laboratory. So there's also walkway here, here, and here. Yeah. And this is the 3D model. You can see when they walk past here, the laboratory, they can access into the site from here. This is the entrance for the laboratory. Yeah. And then this is the cafe, which they come from the pier, they can enter it. Info center and the bike rental area, easy for them to access, and it's all based on the circulation. Yeah. And then this is some of the interior spaces rendering. This is the entrance of the textile making laboratory. This is also the entrance when you look inside. And this is from the second floor. And then this is the bike rental area. And this is the cafe and textile art display. When you walk past the walkway, there will be art display around the entrance, along the entrance. And then this is some exterior spaces rendering. This is the walkway outside of the textile making laboratory. This at day, this at night. On the left side is the facade, and they can view inside the laboratory also. And then the right side is the trees and greeneries. And this view is from the Riverside Park. So you can view to the textile making laboratory, the entrance there. And then this is the pier. Yeah, and then this is the sitting area, which you can view to the riverside and chill there. And then this is the pier entrance. There will be a waiting area for the pier, and then sitting area around that side. Info center, bike rental area, and the cafe. And this is the road entrance view, which this way is lead to the textile making laboratory. This way is to the pier. This way is to the pier also. Yeah. And this is some of my 3D model rendering at daytime. This is the nighttime. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Li Jian. So, Doris or Izati, anyone want to start?
Okay, you start first.
Okay, I will start. I think overall it's very clear, actually, the story of your project. It's very clear. I even have less questions probably because things are clear. One of the things I remember, one slide, you mentioned that the glazing that you are using to the building envelope of your blocks, you mentioned it's clear glass. There is one of the slides. I think No,
This one.
no.
Oh, elevation.
Slowly. Here, I think. Yeah, here. Curtain wall with
Yeah, curtain.
aluminium mullion and double glazing, clear glass. Why double glazing?
Because it's gonna absorb a lot of heat, so double glazing is more suitable for the area.
But you know, sun radiation, it can enter, even if it is double, it can enter. So, and basically the heat will come through solar radiation, that area. And it's clear glazing. This means maybe 90% of solar radiation will be able to enter.
Yeah.
I know it's double, but since it's clear, it's still a problem like this. So this means your project will be like an oven. If the area, as you can see, is too much glazing, almost all blocks, they contain too much glazing. The good thing, you have this textile that you are using in your...
that's why I implement the facade to act as the shading purpose.
Yeah, but it's not, some areas there is no shading. The top part.
Yeah, this area.
So this means sun will make a problem actually to your interior space. And you will need to, you know, it's Thailand, same climate like here in Malaysia. This means air conditioning will be very high and it will not be comfortable also, even with air conditioning.
Okay.
So normally you need to think about, because clear glazing, it's not the solution. This is one thing, so at least you need to find a way to protect it, or you make sure there will be no sun depending on the orientation. You can even, you know, nowadays we can even do simulation of the shadow. So if, for example, properly there is one block which will cast shadow on small blocks, so no need to make shading devices if you prove it. Anyway, this is one point.
Okay.
Go to your floor plan, ground floor. So your exhibition is open. There is no glazing. There is no walls. I can see. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the opening.
So there is no door. There is no wall, right?
There will be a sliding door, but it's open most of the time. For when people they walk past here, they can enter from here also.
What is the sliding door?
For now it's just an opening.
Yeah, you have to draw it. Otherwise, it seems to be open, and it seems to be. It's like there is no. It's like the level of the ground of the street is the same level of the exhibition. This means.
Yeah.
Rain will make terrible disasters.
Yes, I fully agree and a little bit worried because this plan also looks like it's flirting. There's no, like, you know that every line, every change of a level, change of a material, there's a line, right? Plan. So that's how we understand where's the end of one space and the starting from another space, because the change of the material from the external to the internal, and staircases. And I thought you have a lot of staircases looking at from your perspective.
Oh, you mean the outside the...
Yes, the ground floor plan shouldn't be seen only like the space only. Ground floor plan is entirely including your site, including your context.
Because our ground floor plan is just the 800 meters square.
No, it doesn't matter. It's still like within the 800 meters square, inside and outside. Like even like if you draw a plan of a house, you still consider, you know, the porch outside, right? Or, you know, the trees, the grass, you know, the surrounding, or where's your neighbors. So there's, you know, if there will be no blank spaces like this. A ground floor plan means like everything that you look from this ground level. only on your first floor plan, then you've seen like, okay, maybe on the spaces that is cutting through the first floor plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so please be careful to this small, as she mentioned, so even a line is important. A line will explain if there is a difference. This is the street, this is the inside, so there is a difference of level.
Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, also, did you think about kind of like small shopping area or small market for your?
There's actually one, but that's not included in my 800 meter square, the detail part. Because I only focus these 3 buildings.
Okay, what about using bicycles? You have mentioned many times you are considering like pedestrians to use bicycles. Do you think in Thailand they really use bicycles too much?
No, for this area, because the site is into inside of the site, there's a very famous park, a very natural park, and then they usually come to the pier, they rent the bike, and then they cycle into the big park in the Bang Krachao, but not the area, but not around the riverside, the big park. Yeah, around somewhere here. So they usually come here and cycle all the way into the park there. Yeah.
In the beginning, you mentioned that some buildings you kept them and some you removed them. So those you removed them, there was a function of this inside this building before, right?
Sorry.
Or where you proposed your new project, there was existing buildings right there, right?
Yeah.
What are pier and Asian traditional shop? How they function? This project, this existing buildings, you
This
removed them? No, the one you removed them.
Yeah, we can remove them if you want to.
No, but there is a function inside them. I mean, they are not abandoned buildings currently.
No, they're quite old. The buildings are quite old because it's all wooden and it's built next to each other. There's no open space not much open space. So the walkway is very cramped and tiny, and they wouldn't find the direction into the site that I want to bring them into.
Okay, last question. Could you go to the section of your project? So, section is 1/500. So there is no details because section generally, if it is technical one, we need to see what is happening in the foundation.
Oh.
What type of foundation? At least
actually it's the tensile structure. A free form tensile structure.
No, I'm talking about the foundation. At least maybe you need to focus. You need to make a detailed drawing regarding the foundation, because now I can see students always they focus on the superstructure and they forget about the foundation. Foundation is very important. If the foundation is not okay, especially you have a challenge now. It's very close to the river, so the project will not work if you don't have an idea about how to make a good foundation of your project.
Yeah.
All right, maybe my colleagues, they can add some comments and we jump to the next.
For my comment, I think you need to rearrange your catered polyester fabric facade, because some of the facade is just like the upper one is more to expose to the sunlight. So I think better you arrange your fabric facade, and then I think the sections drawing, you need to add on the foundations and then go to the zoom into your detail. Is it kinesthetic, right? Your fabric facet. Is it kinesthetic?
Is actually
Just your fabric, your polyester fabric. Is it kinesthetic, right?
it is
Or it's just rigid?
yeah. No, it's not rigid. It's
It's kinesthetic. So
Yeah.
I think it's better you make a sections how your polyester fabric facet and then is this zoom into that one and then make a section detail cross section at that part. How do you attach to your glass double glass?
that's inside the facade.
Yeah. Because I think it's your attention for your building, like okay this.
It's this.
So I think better you arrange your fabric facet because some part is not suitable in which you put it. Okay. So right. And then for your ground floor plan, I think yeah you need to add on your boundary, where's your boundary line, your side back, and then your cycling walkway. I think there's a difference between cycling walkway and then pedestrian walkway, right? Or you just mention is just same pathway for the cycling and pedestrian?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's better you differentiate the texture of your ground floor plan for the cycling and then for the pedestrian because your ground floor plan I think is just same in between the pedestrian and cycling. It's because it's a safe and then more to like a presentation lah. Alright.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that's it.
Yeah, I think pretty much I agree with the comments from Dr. Taki and Ms. Izati. I like how you present your presentation. I think that's one thing that I should really state it here because it's very clear from the process and what's your intention to the site, what is your strategy to the site. I think carried through your design development, it just a little bit let down on how you plan your facade because if the facade is your most important thing that you talk about the fabric, you talk about the glazing and things like that, can you go to a perspective? And now that you already have, I can see from a perspective, you have like 3D software to assist you to study on the facade and how's the effect that it can go to, right? You have the idea of where the sun should comes in and where the sun should, at the hottest point and how do you want to cover it. If you have the study on how your sort of like shading device could assist on how the building are reacting to the sun path or like this environment matters, then it can make more sense of how you arrange all of this onto your facade instead of now you're just like doing I have 3 rows on the below and the hot sun still comes in from the top. So you can have some parts that's like fully covered with your shadings, right? And then some part leave it more open if you want the light to come in, if the light can actually exist and you doesn't need all the time like full glaze lah. That's one thing that you can think about. Actually, it's about curating your space inside and how does it react to what you're adding in for your facade. I think that's one main thing that I think is still very pre-developed from your scheme. You talk about this from the existing because you talk about from the existing and want to actually lead them to have a more broader view towards this site, right? But you didn't show how it works. Does it improve now, and how does it improve? So I think your perspective and all this is very focused in your building, but because that is your design intention, right? You put it as your design intention. It should be quite important, right? That to show how does this older fabric react to your new fabric. So I think that part is a little bit still, yeah, quite missing lah. And I don't know whether it works or not. Yeah, I think that's all. Your ground floor plan doesn't seem like a ground floor plan yet.
Okay.
All right. That's all.
One last question, please. Are you allowing cars to enter to your project here? Is there any parking?
Not inside.
So where they will park?
Usually the people that lives here, they ride motorcycle, not a lot of cars, and then the car will come to.
But actually, okay, I think it's not a problem not to let cars go in, so like private cars, but we need access for cars in case of fire, for example. How can the fire protection access to your project?
Okay.
If you go to your one of your perspectives, showing only almost two men, they can stay on the road. Continue. So here you see there is two. So basically, neither car or truck, they cannot enter actually. So in case of any problem, so people they will die inside and they will not be able to be rescued.
Okay.
So these things are very important in real life. Things can happen, as you know. Anything can happen in your project. Even without talking about security, for sure they will need sometimes to delivery or something like this. So they need access for vehicles. Maybe not the visitors, but the management of the project. They will need cars to park very close to move anything, or otherwise it will be tough.
Okay.
All right. I think we can jump to the next student.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. How many students we still have? We still have 4?
7. So we have the 4.
Okay, we try to go fast, maybe. Even, you know.
Yeah, you're all seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, my name is Rachel. Today I'm going to present about my craft center. Before we proceed to craft center, we are required to design a new grammar of ornament. The name for this drawing is Endless. It represents the endless life cycle of a silkworm and also the inheritance of traditional textile making, passing from generation to generation. There's 4 types of textile within this circle. It's like bringing all different culture together and become one, which represent culture exchange, one of the concept of my craft center. After that, I have developed my grammar of ornament into a new building element by using the keyword that I found from it, which is inheritance, interaction, connection, and combination. The concept behind it is the same thing, which is bringing culture together and understand one another. It is mainly inspired by peony. It is a kind of flower that Thailand people believe that can bring luck to them. And the curvy thing actually represent the connection of all different type of traditional craft and textile. As you can see that there's 2 infinity symbol from the front view of it, and it represent the life cycle of silkworm and also the cultural exchange. The top part are elaborated from peony's petal. It is overlapping each other to become sunshade at the top of the column. The mosaic pattern will create a reflection of lighting on the floor. And moving on is my case study for my facade design. This is a science center which located at France. The facade are mainly built by concrete and finished by red paint. There's interconnection between the facade and natural. At the same time, it also provides privacy for the user. And then I have developed my facade from building element. I extract the pattern from the top part of the building element, which is the column just now, and form it into two facade panels. And then the frame itself are solid, and the color part is semi-transparent, and the white part is completely transparent. This is how it looks like when it is closed. And this is the mock-up that I've done. It is basically formed by two facade panels. The semi-transparent part are inverted with another one, so there are less sunlight to come through when they are overlapping each other. After I have explored few material, I think timber is the suitable one for the framing part, and the semi-transparent part will be color-coated glass. Both of the material are durable and also easy for maintenance. This is the physical model that I've done for the facade, and it also shows how the effect of shadow would look like. The facade able to block part of the sunlight, provide privacy for user and also ventilation at the same time. This is the view in and view out for my facade. Our given site is Bang Krachao Pier, which is located at Thailand. And there are 6 main design intentions toward my craft center, which is cyclist rest stop, cultural exchange, preserving traditional craft, cultural enhance, craftsman gathering spot, and flea market. And based on the site analysis, I have choose few elements that is useful for my programmatic planning. First, there's a connection within the given site, water taxi station toward north side, accommodation which is resort at the east side, main road at south, and bicycle rental shop toward west. Therefore, circulation will created within the site according the access point. And the second one is quality view, which is sea view and Bangkok city view. Spaces that proposed at this area will be facing north in order to let visitors enjoy the view. And next is there is 2 arrival spots within the site. The first arrival is pedestrian, car and bike. So which located at south, and the second one is arrival of water taxi. So the proposed entrances will be at where the arrival spots are. Last one is pocket space to block noise from tourists. After I done my site synthesis, I know where all the designated programs should be placed. I try to propose program that will benefit both of the user, which is community and craftsmen. As we all know that there are many cyclists around Bang Krachao, and there are many tourists using bikes since there's a bike rental shop. Therefore, I've created a cyclist rest stop for them, and it also can be a small craftsman gathering spot for them to share their working experience. And then the second one is flea market. Thailand family used to make their own clothes for their family, so they would know the skill of traditional textile making. And local and craftsmen are able to sell their product or their own craft at the flea market. The third one is cafe with sea view and Bangkok city view. And the next one is painting wall, which allow visitor to do wall painting. At the same time, also could be an inspiration corner for craftsmen. And the last one is an orchard that consists of plant box because the construction of China caused the losing of mineral in the soil. Come to my massing development. It starts from a given site plan, and then I connect all the access points to create circulation. The third one is blocking the noise by increasing the building height. And then I crop out the building form by introducing space articulation. And the fifth one is to maximize sea view by cropping the building with an angle. And next, I adjust the existing building by increasing building height. And the seventh one is connecting all the building by introducing link bridges in between. Finally, introduce floating market into my flea market by creating a water canal. And the last one is introducing a private orchard by placing it at the end of my site. As you can see that most of the spaces that I proposed are public except for the management office and workshop, which is semi-private. And my site plan shows how the circulation within my site, the car oil, and then the ground floor plan is where my 5 main spaces to be placed, which is painting wall, flea market, and then cyclist rest stop and orchard. And there's weaving workshop and a small workshop area for like when it's necessary. And then I also applied my facade on the first floor of my building, which allowed people to view it from far. And this section cut through, it shows how my floating market integrate with my flea market, and also the cafe is here. And then this is the cyclist rest stop that by placing my designated building element. This is weaving workshop that consists of traditional weaving machinery, the painting wall, the flea market, and my cafe with sea view and Bangkok city view, the orchard that consists of plant box, and this is the entrance of my craft center, and last, my perspective. Yeah, thank you. That's all from me.
Thanks. Okay, we start. Could you please go to your floor plans?
Okay.
No, before go to the massing. How did you develop the massing?
This one?
Yeah, in step number 3, you said you block the noise by increasing the building height. Which noise are you talking about?
Oh, yeah. And before we proceed to the craft center, right? All of us have done site analysis booklet, and the analysis shows that there are tourist noise coming from this site.
So human noise, you mean?
Yeah.
Do you think it will create problem for your project? It's not dormitory or...
Okay.
So it's not an issue. It's not an issue to hear people talking. It's not the classroom, this one, or dormitory, or in the country. Maybe when I hear noise, I feel it's like there is movement in the surroundings. So maybe it's even positive thing. Actually, you brought cars, so basically cars they will create more noise than tourists. Could you know? Could you go to your floor plan, ground floor? So you kept the existing building. The previous students removed some existing buildings, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. So the scale is 701 to 750.
Yes.
It's generally we don't really use because there is too many blocks. I can see. We would like it. We would like to see like an area where you use maybe 1 to 100, not the total ground floor. Do you have such a floor plan, 1 to 100, for any
No.
area?
No.
Because like this, there are only lines. We can see lines now, lines and boxes inside. Same thing for stairs. Stairs, they are like 2 circles.
This is just a master plan, you see. So the building we can't see.
Okay.
How you plan the building?
Actually, she's calling it ground floor. This is ground floor plan. It's not the title. Because she has too many blocks and they are far away, so... But anyway, she still can focus on one area to show how she can communicate using drawing. Now regarding the... do you think it's logical to make this kind of road for cars? Like it's like one way, right? From left to right, it's one way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know where it will take us if we follow the road, your road? To nowhere?
Okay.
Sorry? It will take to nowhere? It's just a road. You don't know where it will take? Same thing, actually. Even for these small boats, you should not just show boats and that's it. You have to know possible connections where they will be able to take the tourists or the visitors of your project, not just okay, here we have cars so they can move this way. Could you move to the next slide, next level, first level? So all of them, they are 1 to 750.
Yeah.
What about the project brief? They asked you. They didn't ask you to zoom more. Did they suggest for you a specific scale in the project brief?
No.
So now your lobby, for example, no balcony. It's written balcony there.
Yeah.
So the balcony is connected to the existing building or what? I cannot imagine
No,
that area.
it is kind of placed on top of the building.
Do you have
The
any
existing
3D view which shows that area?
building. No, no, no.
Do you have 3D of the whole project?
I think this one. No.
You don't have 3D of the whole project to see, to understand clearly, because floor plans, they are very small. So
Okay. No.
you did all these 3D views and you didn't do one for the big picture.
Yeah.
Because it's not
Rachel,
easy.
do you know what's the problem here?
Sorry?
Do you know what's the problem here? Do you know what we're talking about here?
You mean the perspective of the whole site or?
The big thing is that we cannot understand your building at all.
Oh,
See,
okay.
there's a master plan, so we can see a general planning of from one building to another, but we can't understand how do you design one building. Any of so there's no way for us to understand in detail how do you design the building, because that's a most important thing for you, right?
Yeah.
This is architectural project, you are doing the building, so in this scale it's more like a master plan. You can't know how to design a building, how do you decide where to locate, let's say, you know, your space, all your site that are really so much the flow of your program.
Oh, okay.
I think at least you need to focus on one building. So I know it's big, you have too many blocks, but at least you need to focus on a scale of 1 to 100, maybe one building, just one part.
Okay.
So at least we make sure you know what you are doing. What about the facades? They are the same scale? Go to the facades. No,
Facade. This one?
no, facade. The facade of the whole project.
The elevation.
Oh, elevation.
Is it all flat roof?
Yeah.
Do you think there's no this? Do you not have any reason?
Sorry?
Do you have no other reason for you to have a different kind of space like a building? So all of your space is fully flat all the way. There's no, you don't need any hierarchy of your space.
Oh, okay.
There's see, from what I understand is that all the space inside is the same. Maybe some part has some mezzanine, but you know, as generally the spatial condition is quite the same. You have the facade panel that was supposed to be showed as a secondary partition, right? Because you still let the rain come in. So how do you?
No, the facade, right? It's all glass.
Is all glass, that will be another type of problem, right? Then you talk about ventilation, then you talk about. So you see, this is all your building configuration. There's no consideration because you don't design the building. You design the master plan and just build up. And then what's the condition of inside this cyclist rest stop? How is the air condition? How is the light condition? Why you don't know? Because you didn't study it. You study all the, you know, the previous, talk about the fabric, talk about the light, perhaps the glass panels, but then you don't study all that building. So I can't see how you develop the building design. So for me, there's no building design because you don't know, like we ask one simple question, you can't answer.
Yes, the floor plan also you need to put the drop off. Where's the car want to drop off the people's? Please for your floor plan, right? Make a drop off for the car, and then for the cycling also, because it's a mix. One route can use a cycling, can for the car, pedestrian. Where's your drop off? So you need a space for the drop off. Okay.
I think that's all from me.
The building seems. I think that's all.
Okay, we jump to the next channel. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Miss and Sir. I am Bong, and let me share my screen. Can you able to see my screen?
Oh,
Yes.
okay, yes.
Alright. Good afternoon to Sir and Miss. My name is Bong Siu Juan, and I'm going to present my project. So I did some sketches from what I got the information from the research of textile, which are a few of the main elements inside of the such as plants, silkworm, yarns, and also the technique of the weaving textile. So I try to put these elements inside the ornament drawing, which the middle of the drawing is yarns, and slowly transfer to textile patterns, which means the final product of the textile. So to create my design of the elements, so I did main 4 steps to propose for it, from the movement of the drawing and also the line from it. So this is the views of the building elements, which is door, and I plan to locate my door in the main hall as the main entrance for the pedestrian. And this one is the case study to facade. So the reason why I chose the building is because it is served to filter the daylight and also minimize the overheating of the building. And I decided to create the facade that can allow the natural breeze and also can make the indoor space become more cooler. And besides, I also make it as a part of the roof to create some interesting shadow and produce natural light to the indoor space. Yes. So I take the inspire from the textile and create the final outlook of the facade as I show like this. The next will be my messing develop. Yeah. Which is the first messing form from the shape of the boundary, and the second one I create 3 solids into to distribute the different activities will be going on in the building. In the third and fourth steps, to capture the more of the sunlight in the morning, and I created the slender roof for the messings. And the next, to allow the natural breeze flow through the building,
Could you Excuse me, could you please use your pointer when you are talking about something special? So you can
Pointer. Can see my mouse?
Yeah, but it's not moving. Okay, it's moving now. Okay, continue.
Since where sir cannot understand? I repeat the meshing developed here.
Yeah, quickly.
Okay. The first meshing from the shape of the boundary, and the second one, the three solids created to distribute the different activities will be going on in the building. And the third and fourth, I kept to capture the more of the sunlight in the morning, so I created the slender roof on the top of the meshing. So the next, to allow the natural breeze to flow through the buildings, I decided to make the walls that facing southwest and southeast to become my facade later. And the last three pictures here below is the final outlook of my 3D meshing.
Okay.
Pedestrian easier to approach. I place the manhole here, close to the pier and also the main road here. So, to attract the attention of the pedestrian, of the people that come from the other sides, so I place the workshop beside of the river here. And to create a link between of the building, I built a exhibition walkway in between of the main road and also workshop. And here will be the craft market. This is the circulation of the building. And this is the view of the model, which is from the river to the market. And also here is to main road to the entrance of the exhibition hall, and also view from the main road to market. This is the key plans and location plan. This is my site plan. The ground floor plan and elevations, sections. And this one is detail of my facade. That's all for me.
So Jen, can you go to your plan section and elevation? Is this all? Do you think that this plan is ground floor plan?
This one is site plan. I show the rooftop.
To ground floor plan.
Ground floor plan.
Do you think this is a ground floor plan?
Yes.
Confidently?
Yes, but lack of rendering.
Rendering? It's not about rendering. You don't need a rendering to make up a ground floor plan. This is all single line diagram, right? There's only one line.
I think the thickness, but the scale is too right.
And that, what is that? Like a door? Is that a door? Is that no door? Is that no floor?
Yes.
Yes, it's what? No.
Here,
no.
the drop I created here.
Where?
Here.
Which one? Is
it
door?
too small?
Door. Which one is a door? Opening.
Yeah.
That's your. What about the others? The bigger space.
This one, the open space.
So totally open. There's no floor changes. The water will just come in.
Mm.
Is that what you're saying? There's no consideration of how the wall is, how the wall should have openings, and even that if you have like an open space that people can just flood in, you still have the floor changes line, right? Do you understand how a plan works? And the exhibition hall has only like exhibition hall.
Sorry, miss, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so you can't call it an exhibition hall just with you put like 1 or 2 walls in the middle and expect it to work. How is your idea of the spatial inside? How is the circulation? Where's the people gathering? Do you need any furnitures in your space? There's no, this is for me just a single line diagram. You cannot call this a plan yet because there's no detail of what a layout plan should has. You go to your section. Is this your line drawing, AutoCAD drawings?
No.
This is a SketchUp, right?
Yeah.
So do you know that if you just take your SketchUp and cut it, that is not a section? That is not an elevation. This is just a 3D view. This is not drawing. Drawing needs to carry information. It's not like by just cutting. So for me, you have no elevation and section. You have no drawings. And this is a very serious offense in terms of architectural design because there's no drawings. You didn't draw this. You build up a 3D, you cut it, and you call it a drawings. This is not even a Revit. You don't carry the information on what the section should have. All the connections that you cut through is not there. All the details of a structure, foundations. I think I can't really comment anything more on this. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with my colleague actually. So I think you agree with us also, because if you give us a section like this is not a section. So for the floor plan, since you are using, go to the floor plan again. You see, for the floor plan, you are using 1 to 450. Actually, you can give something like this, but you need to focus after that. You focus on the design, for example, reception and or main hall and the reception center. You focus on the details. You go to 100, only that part of the building, because you cannot put 100 scale in for all the blocks in the same time. So you have to manage. You are the owner or the designer of this project, so you have to manage how to communicate your project. Same thing as you manage to use English word to talk. You have to manage which thing you can draw and which will make us satisfied with the progress of your work. Like this, it's not enough. There are just lines. You also mentioned there are just lines. We cannot see doors, many things, we cannot see them. And you didn't talk about the existing buildings. What did you do for the existing buildings in this site?
I did the open space for the craft center market.
No, I'm talking about the existing building. In this, currently there is existing buildings, right, in your site?
Which?
Here in this area, there is existing buildings. It's the same site as the previous students, right? So the previous students, they mentioned there is existing buildings. You didn't talk about the existing buildings.
This
Did you?
means the size of the buildings.
No, the existing buildings. Normally here there is existing buildings. Currently there is. Is it true? Right or not correct? In reality, there is existing buildings in this site. So exactly where you are implementing your project here. In reality, there is already some buildings there. Correct, right? So where they are now? In your floor plan, they have gone, you removed them or what?
I removed them.
So you have to mention that why you removed them, if you removed why, and all these things, not just forgetting about the reality and just bringing your proposition like this. What about the? It's not clear. The access of vehicles that can access to your project, or not?
Sorry?
The access of vehicles, cars, they can access to your project?
No. There's only walking by the pedestrian.
So same thing, same issue. So if there is a fire in your project, what will happen? You take water from the river like this and you run to switch off the fire. These things you can imagine actually. Sometimes we don't even need to read about this. It's like it's very obvious. If there is fire, what we can do now? What is the solution? The civil protection, they will not be able to come here. So it will be a big disaster, and then they will call the architect. What did you do here? Of course, they will not even give you the permit to build something like this in the civil protection, since it's not respecting the safety regulations. You as students, you need to start reading about this kind of things, how to make your building safe in terms of fire, for example, or even flooding, for example. Probably this river, it will make a flooding disaster every 1 year or 2 years, maybe water will be able to. So you need to think about it, about these kind of things. Yes, we cannot ask too much question because the drawings already are not clear. Okay, so maybe my colleague can add something. Is that?
Yeah, for me, I'm same with you, both of you. The ground floor plan is not a final, and the elevations, sections, or everything is not a final as expected. So you need to finish. For me, it's not finished yet. And then to upgrade your ground floor plan, I think you need to show where's the car park, and then which means the car flow, the main entrance drop off. Okay, and then what's the black one from your ground floor plan is a route.
Yeah.
So and then okay, the black text pattern is right. So you right is a car park, and then how can from the main entrance drop off, and then how can they go to the car park? So you need to the drawings you need to clear. Okay, so other than that is my comment, it seems that my colleague. Right. Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, next students, please.
Oh, sorry. Hello. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. My name is Lim Kai Xuan, so I will start my presentation now. So in the beginning, we need to analyze the textile, so we need to extract the element. So from the weaving pattern and also the traditional technique, I formed the new grammar of ornamentation. So showing the relationship with the mechanism and also the natural and between the traditional weaving patterns. So the intention of this drawing is to appreciate the traditional wisdom and also the natural. So proceed to the building elements. The building elements that I do is window. So it means from different viewpoint can get the different view. So the shape of the window is inspired by the relationship of the thread which connect to each other and play their own role to form a textile. So the window shape is like a concave and convex shape to increase the view and also to focus the sight to one point. So the pattern of the iron grill of the face of the window is formed freely, which inspired by the weaving patterns that also can form the shadow casting to the interior according to different pan layer. So the next one is overall size synthesis. So as you can see from the map, the opposite of the site is actually the Bangkok city, which people having hustle and bustle lifestyle. So it forms a big difference to the site, which is the rural area. So people visit to the proposed site is to enjoy the nature and relieve stress. So there is some activities that can found at there, which is the water activities, the cycling, and also the integrated farming. So according to the site, I have proposed some activities and strategy. And after that is the case study of the facade. So my intention of the facade is actually to appreciate the traditional and also the natural. So the case study that I chose, which has implemented the idea of traditional Japanese patterns of yukata as wooden lattice. It formed the unique patterns and it will having a shadow casting to the interior according to the different tile layer also. So in my proposed facade, using the timber structure, which eco-friendly, and also the structure of the facade is supported by the branch structure. It can provide a larger span, and the roofing material is tensile fabric, which allows sunlight to penetrate into the interior, and it also durable. So I'm using the wood joint, which allow various configuration. After that, proceed to the craft center. So the intention of the building is to bring people into the site and appreciate the nature and craft. So actually at the site, the existing building is not in a regular form, and it only have a small route towards the pier. So at the site synthesis, they have three main points, which is the pier, the freshwater swan forest, and also the bicycle touring. So this is the SWOT analysis toward the site. So at the programmatic diagram proposed, it can divide it into three main points, which is the art and culture, including the workshop and also the craft center. The second one is economical, which is the existing bicycle rental service, and also the bazaar, which selling the local art and craft. So the last one is the agriculture. So this is the massing development. In the first one is indicating the existing building and also the site boundary. After that, the second one is indicate the proposed program and also the new structure building. After that is showing the circulation inside the site. And I proposed some green pocket inside in between the building as some buffer. So after that, in the middle deck, there's a building as the 800 meter square as the main program. So I will elevate the building due to the swamp soil and also to avoid clashing with the existing building. So after that, the center roof is created to avoid the direct sunlight from the west. And also the rib beam timber roofing is to allow the sufficient sunlight. So it's also proposed as span view toward the river views. So it's showing the bubble diagram inside the 800 meter square, which is the two major area, which is the exhibition area and also the communal area. It's connecting to the workshop. So in the key plan is showing the Bangkok, Thailand, and when zoom in is actually the Bang Krachao Pier. So at the site plans, the main area will become the craft center and also the workshop. So the other area will become the supported program. So the art and craft bazaar is area for local to sell the traditional craft and having a deck area over here for people to enjoy the sea view. So the bike rental services is redefine the existing building. So the new boat mooring point is proposed to avoid the crowded situation at the main pier here when peak period. So it's also having a river esplanade purpose for people to have a walk along the boundary. So proceed to the plan. The plan is actually the open space to maximize the natural ventilation. And the ceiling level is actually double volume. So people didn't feel the oppression inside the space. So the structure of the building also allow the largest band so people can enjoy the space without obstacles. So at the workshop area, it's having a weaving looms for people to experience the weaving technique, and some workshop table is behind the space for people to dyeing the textile and also learning the hand weaving technique. So at the communal area, is actually at the ground floor is for people to discuss and also enjoy the natural. So at the ground floor also have the management office and also the restroom. Toward the first floor is have an exhibition area. So when people walk through the exhibition area, because it is an open view, so they can also see the sea view, and they will not feel like isolated with the nature. So from the elevation is showing the linkage of the space and how the activities carrying on and how the building integrated into the site. So the tree section is cut through the plant, showing that how the space quality, and from the section you can see the shadow casting cast into the interior also form and different ambience to the space quality. So this is some interior view from the plans. And the last one is the 3D perspective from the side. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Taishan.
Hi.
Start first lah. I just have some question first because before I start. So you have a sheep farming in order to extract like the textile lah, right?
Yeah.
Can you run through like how do you plan out this process, like for understanding the sheep farming to the processing and towards the craft center or like the workshop, what do they do and things like that? Do you have a detailed understanding for your program first?
Okay. At first, so
is this your ground floor plan? Sorry.
This is the side plan. Sorry. Ground floor plan is here.
I think it's a similar comments. Do you draw this, or do you cut from your 3D?
Actually, it's cut from the 3D.
So I just want to be clear to all the students here is that if you cut the drawing from a 3D, it's not a drawing. Drawing has to have the lines. That's why we talk about line, right? And drawing has to have the indications because, you know, that's all what you learn on your semester 1 and 2 is that how to draw architectural plan. So, all right, so that's one main thing that I think could be quite difficult for us to look at because we can't just look at your 3D, right? You need to know how to draw. You need to know, yeah, all right, the drawing part is definitely not there.
Yeah, one more thing, actually, this is 3D and you did the cut and it's still in a perspective mode now. As you can see, it's perspective. It's not even orthogonal drawing. Because sometimes actually we can, like how Revit works actually, it's you do the model and then Revit will do a section, but very professional section and it's orthogonal. That's why you will not see perspective like this. This one is more kind of artistic drawing, but in this level you have to show technical drawing and detailed drawing, not those ones with colors and the shadow and.
You're using Revit, you still have the line, change of line thickness, you know, the cut through will still have be flat. And you still have the hatching of the materials on, you know. So I think that's one main thing that it is not a plan, just like that, just simple as that. This is not a layout plan. And you don't have a layout plan, you don't have a section and elevation.
Where's your full ground floor plan? This is only a half ground floor plan, right?
Yeah.
You cut the ground floor plan into the two view.
And the scale is still 1 to 500, even though it's only one part.
Yeah. If we talk about the ground floor plan, we need to show all the building in the boundary. It's not like this.
And you can't show your communal area just like an empty space and, you know, with it doesn't seem like it works as a scale as well. It's like you put a few tables and then that is a communal area already. You don't think of what program are they doing inside, what kind of event that you can host. Is there some pop-up things? So there's no planning on your design in your building, you see. So even the scale, it looks not right. Like your experimental workshop area has this vast emptiness on the middle. It doesn't look like there's a flow. What is the experimental? Your workshop, it just you seen our Make Lab, right? Make Lab has like different machineries, and then until like different, then you have this enclosed room for the tools, and then that's more like an office, and then you have like outside 2 different zoning of the work area. And here you just put a few tables and you call it a experimental workshop area. It just shows that you don't understand what is the space about. What do you want to function it as? How does the people are going to use the space? Do you need some enclosed rooms, or is it just full open like that? Where's your tools? Where's your machines? So yeah, I think it's very insufficient lah, all these informations that are on your final boards here. So yeah. How long do you have for this project?
Sorry?
How long do you have to develop this building? How many weeks do you have to develop this building?
Around 1 month.
You have 1 month. 1 month is very sufficient to develop one good project. It's very insufficient. All right.
Yeah.
I can see you are tricked in using Photoshop. You should not use Photoshop too much. In the beginning, you have to use either AutoCAD or Revit. So when you issue good technical drawing, after that, it's okay if you want to improve or make some colors to show up some areas. But if, like here, you just did the section using 3D and still perspective, and you started adding water using Photoshop and lines. Photoshop is not for technical drawing.
Mm.
It's for us artistic presentation, not technical ones. And yeah, so could you please jump to the next slides? Okay, you see? We still can even see the shadow in your, how can shadow appear in that area in the floor plan? And it's still perspective view. It's like you are developing a game, not a project. Like Angry Bird, or I don't know. Could you go down? You see, always section is perspective. This is not a section. Even if we say
sections are too flat. They need to 2D only.
Yeah, it's still in perspective mode. Otherwise, you will not be able to see the trusses behind. Yeah, always there is the perspective, because you use the 3D, not you know, it's like making correct drawings is very important. It's part of the communication. So if your project is very good and you don't communicate it good using your drawing, it would be very hard actually to judge you, even if your ideas are very good. So drawing should be perfect. After that, things regarding the development process, by time it will improve. But drawing, you need to catch it now. If you don't learn how to draw now, when you will learn? So if there is there any other comments? Otherwise, we think we need to jump to the next students.
No.
I think all the students just need to know that you cannot cut a 3D and expect that as a section. You have to draw the section, because informations. It's not like how it just seen it is, like a 3D, and how it's not an artist's impression, all right? Okay, so if you don't have a drawing, it means that you don't have a plan and sections, and then I think a few of you have this, right?
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Miss, are you the last?
Yeah, Eunice.
We cannot hear anything. Can you hear?
No.
Oh, sorry. May I start again?
Yeah.
Good afternoon to the panelists once again. My name is Eunice and I'll be presenting my project for Design Studio 4. Okay. The journey to determine the language of ornamentation started by observing the process of traditional Thai textile making. As seen in this college that I've prepared, each operation is mapped out in sequence to study the morphology from fiber, yarn to fabric. Through conceptual sketches, I began to illustrate multiple elements within the textile making process, deriving the qualities of its movement and form and translating them to lines and shapes. As I closely examined the sketches I've made, I began to notice the difference between the process and product of textile creation in the fact that the process was one founded on creating tension, rigidity, and tightness through pulling and pushing movements. In stark contrast, the product is evident in portraying fluidity, softness, and bendability, which is further explored through conceptual sketches. With the use of the relevant shapes and lines, the final ornament drawing manages to bridge the contrast between a process that focuses on tension and rigidity with its end product, which can be described as free-flowing, flexible, dynamic, and ever-changing. As a corresponding analog to the predetermined language of ornamentation, the building element is designed to portray the connection between two realms, hence the merging of two spheres to form a cylindrical pot. Through more experimental sketches, the cylinder is then further molded into its decagonal shape, in which panelization and flattening of the curved surfaces are able to facilitate the repetitive reflection of light and enable a kaleidoscopic function. To add towards the functionality of the building element as a window, mock-up models are made to create a mechanization similar to the twisting and bending movements of a weaving loom machine. This is then implemented to the window panels in order to ventilate its attaching building in a manner that reflects the process of textile making. From the language of ornamentation, the main and sub-elements are extracted and imprinted onto the surfaces of the decagonal pot. The final ornament building element is therefore named as kaleidoscope, a skylighted window pot that portrays the bridging of two spherical realms. Through panelization, it has a kaleidoscopic function, purpose for the extraction of textile design patterns through the play of light and reflection. Steered by a reflect mechanism, its mobile panels are designed to adapt to the ventilation and lighting needs of the building it is contained within. Moving on to the ornament facade assembly. The new ornament facade assembly was deliberated to be a reflection of the similar grammar of ornament, which is the contrast between process and product. By bridging the contrast between rigidity and fluidity, the new ornament facade assembly is intended to portray a movement that blows up a collision between two forms. Therefore, the Palazzo Italia for the Milan Expo 2015 was chosen as a case study based on three main reasons: its non-grid chaotic motion, its compatibility to form, and sustainability. From there, the facade of the palazzo was based on the image of a petrified forest and combined combine both forms of straight and curved branches to surround its volumetric environment. I also conducted research on the materiality as well as the functionality of the facade design in relation to its external environment. From there, the design of the ornament facade assembly was drafted out through conceptual sketches and raw models that were based on the idea of fluidity, rigidity, and the collision in between. Shapes and lines were derived from the surrounding edges of the mock-up model, and the various folds are replicated into the final model. Finally, mirror and glass panels are added to the sides of the strips in order for it to perform a structural and reflective function. The way in which the facade design was intended to be utilized inside the proposal is that it will be placed side by side to the ornament building element as a pair of rotatable fins that align to the direction of sunlight as the sun changes through time. The facade is intended to demonstrate a function likened to a measuring and observing instrument of the different degrees of reflection in a means to aid the workability of the kaleidoscope. This is achieved by having 5 main angles of folds in its surfaces, as well as to compare the effect of concavity and convexity on the reflection of light and color. When the mechanism of the kaleidoscope is worked, the user is able to gauge the angle and degree of reflection that is used to produce the pattern, and hence provide accurate results for its research. Various materials to look into for the fabrication of the facade. However, the aluminum composite cladding panel was chosen since it is not only highly reflective, but it's also very foldable and available in many colors. Following this, the construction assemblage for the facade assembly was carefully thought up, as well as the methods that would enable the folding of the panels to different degrees. Aside from demonstrating the collision between fluidity and rigidity, the final outcome of the completed facade is created to portray the unique texture and pattern of a piece of textile up close. The purpose of the new facade is also to envelop its building structure in a manner that inspires and encourages the textile creation and pattern activity within, as well as attract tourists from around the world to its striking and moving form. Moving on to the schematic proposal for the Transdisciplinary Craft Center, I started to study the context and the potential programs that could be applied onto the project site. For the site synthesis, I first identified the sun path over the proposed site project, since the source and direction of light is essential to aid the function of the kaleidoscope. I also identified the wind intensity and direction that will steer the ventilating panels of the kaleidoscope. With that, I pinned the main assembly points that will draw in human traffic from 3 directions. Firstly, the Bang Krachao Pier that welcomes tourists from opposite shores of the island. Secondly, the crossroads in front of the bicycle sheds. And lastly, a neighboring Kuntara Botanic Home that can serve as an accommodation for the visiting lecturers and students for the textile design program. With these points pinned, the proposed site massing branches into the core of the project site like the buttress roots of a mangrove tree, since it is also rooted in both soil and water like the plant. Then I proceeded to look into the site opportunities as well as issues of Bang Krachao, and realized that there were neighboring educational institutions on its opposite shores in the town of Bangkok. Besides that, the island's connection to a water body provides an opportunity for a fun and playful program, and aside from its abundance of beautiful natural elements that provides chances for pattern making. However, Bang Krachao also has a disproportionate tourist program in the aspect that it focuses a lot on physical and recreational activities, leaving Thailand's beautiful culture to the sideline. It also has a disproportionate demographic in the fact that there are a lot more elderly than youth inside of the site. And thirdly, there is also a flooding problem at the riverbank. Therefore, I am proposing to build an artisanal textile research center and emporium. The intention of the proposed building will be predominantly to incubate, fabricate, educate, and propagate. Firstly, the design ornament, which is the Kaido spot will be utilized as a medium for pattern extraction through the various reflections of light and color that it provides for its external natural environment of Bang Krachao. The patterns are then extracted, studied, and integrated into textile designs that will be manufactured within the labs provided. This research process will actively involve university students from the neighboring universities around the island of Bang Krachao, providing labs and classrooms for the local youth to further explore the possibilities of Thai textiles. These designs will then be fabricated with the help of local villagers in a weaving workshop. The manufactured textile products will also be used to educate the community of Bang Krachao, especially its international tourists, about Thai textiles, via a depository or gallery in which they will be beautifully displayed in the form of installations. Lastly, the project will also utilize the status of its site as a popular tourist destination to propagate the different fabrics produced to generate income for its local community, as well as to raise funds for the continuation of its research activities. With the above intentions in mind, the programmatic diagram is mapped out to determine the flow and interweaving elements of activities that will take place. Based on the program, necessary spaces are listed to fit the entailment of its activity and target users. From there, I started to look into strategies that will be able to integrate the program with the site. Firstly, the unique function of the Kaido spot that captures pattern from its surrounding nature to collaborate with tertiary students in creating a textile design and research program. Secondly, a river market and galleria will incorporate the connecting water body of Chao Phraya River to create an internal channel in which tourists can experience the traditional Thai culture of textile creation. Lastly, the placement of wave turbines will be able to counter the problem of flooding by the riverbanks by forming a plumbing and energy generator system that uses wave energy to turn the spinning machines in the yarn spinnery. With the program planned out, initial sketches and digital masking are made to kickstart the form-making developments, with attention given to its internal spatial arrangement as well as relation to its external environment. As mentioned for the site synthesis, the concept of the project will be derived from the mangrove root structure that stretches out into water and soil. This was implemented by having various node points and roots stretching forth from these points. The form for the project is also taken from the substance and nature of textile, primarily the subject of stretchability. Both of these natures are then fused to create the overall form for the project, as well as its void openings and entrances, resulting in its final form development. The similar textile qualities are also brought into the spatial qualities of the internal and open spaces of the project. Now I will present my final project. The project is divided into 4 main spaces as per its design intentions. Firstly, an observatory holding the Kaido spot is oriented towards the shore of the Chao Phraya River so as to capture the largest view of the surrounding nature. Here, users will make observations through the Kaido spots and map out textile patterns that will be developed further. The observatory is then connected via a walkway to the Textile Design Institution, where the designs will be incubated simultaneously as the textile design program takes place. These curated designs are then taken to the block on the very left, much closer to the villagers' residences, where residents can weave the textile designs into actual fabrics in a workshop building. Underneath these spaces, the river waters are brought in a U-shaped channel, through which traveling boats and tourists can boat through and dock, as they enjoy a visually and tangibly appealing experience of having multicolored fabrics moved in rotation above their rides. This is the river market and galleria, where tourists can also purchase the different fabrics that are being showcased. All of these spaces are connected with an overhead bridge that stands from the river shore and branches into different blocks via 2 piers and a center pier at the core of the project. Due to the limitations of the buildable area, the Textile Design Institution is taken as the main focus of the design project. A huge lecture hall occupies the largest space within the institution, with its triangular, fan-shaped arrangement that aids the delivery of sound for lecture or showcase sessions. Two entrances lead into this hall, one from the bridge and one from the roads. From the same floor, users can access a textile library on the left and the student hangout area on the right, from which they can take the staircase up to the first floor. On the first floor, users will encounter several decagonal-shaped plots containing various classrooms, laboratories, and offices to facilitate the textile design program. Students get to experiment their designs in the experimentation lab and the weaving and templating station. There is also a textile design studio that gives the students a co-working space. Outside the lecture hall, the instructor's office and tutorial classroom provides a guidance and tutorial area between lecturers and students, while there is also a separate discussion room at the end of the building. The open spaces and walkways that surround and connect the plots are covered with a tensile roof that reflects the structurability of fabric, and branching mangrove wood structures so as to prevent the building from being covered completely. For the plots, they are designed with attention to detail in the aspect of natural lighting, therefore they are shaped to have slanted skylights from 360 degrees. The facade assembly is placed all around the walls of the plots to encourage the observation of light reflection and how it can create pattern and image. Ultimately, the intention of the design project and its infused program is to create a dynamic and creative space that empowers students to influence the local villagers as well as international tourists in cultivating a deeper cultural connection towards the art of traditional Thai textile. At the same time, the design project will be able to bring a positive impact to its allocated site by invigorating a future development with an energy that is youthful, creative, and vibrant. Some views of the proposed project to better understand the activities that will be contained within it. By implementing the facade assembly onto the pier and bridge, it is hoped that the users are able to enjoy a unique experience of observing the reflection of Bang Krachao from different angles while journeying towards the core of the project. The lecture hall is designed to be open and spacious, with a glazed skylight that lets in daylight when it is needed in sufficiency, and when dimness is needed to showcase the presentation on the slide screen clearly, a mechanism can be used to pull a drape of fabric over it. The River Market and Galleria is located underneath the first floor, from which fabric installations can be installed on its void openings to create a stunning visual effect that draws tourists and villagers alike to operate the lively textile trading center. The color experimentation lab is filled with sufficient daylight from its slanting windows above so that users can observe and identify color to maximum accuracy and subsequently manipulate it for the design of textiles. On the ground floor, the textile library and archive is covered by a lofty roof and yet opens up to the first floor above, where users can observe and participate in research and archiving activities to improve their knowledge on textile design. The overall construction of the design project consists of some curved roofs and curved walls, which are overcome by using aluminum cladding panels affixed on the structural framing and cement. The decagonal parts of the pier and other spaces in the institution are also strengthened with structural steel framing to hold up their dome-like form. Lastly, I also looked into the rain drainage solutions that will be applicable to the design of the decagonal-shaped pots. Finally, please enjoy a fly-through video of the Artisanal Textile Design Institution and Emporium. before I end my presentation, I would like to admit that before this, I did not think of proposing a way for fire trucks to journey into the project. However, I also found that Bangkok has launched fireboats to counter any issues of fire, and it is also located at the Chao Phraya River, which is our very own site. Thank you.
The last idea was for me, right?
Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know where the sound is coming from.
You're trying to hypnotize us with the music.
No.
Speak.
I think it's not from me.
Maybe you can stop sharing and share it again.
Okay, maybe I will start. I think overall there is very smooth story. So in the different scales, so in the urban scale until even the interior views, we can feel. Personally, I can feel there is a very clear storyline of your project. So you explained many things, which is very good, and you went through details of many ideas you want to see in your project, which is very good. Now, regarding the sand path of the site, do you think Thailand is exactly the same as Malaysia? Bangkok is exactly the same as Kuala Lumpur, for example?
No, I don't think so.
So what is the difference?
To be honest, I have not researched too much about the sand path.
In one of your slides, you have shown the sand path. It's like
yes, but I only identified where I would need to place the kaido spots to be facing the.
Go up, yeah.
Yes, here.
Could you zoom? Okay, go to the next slide. Next. Next. Go down. I think I have seen the sand path in another area. But you mentioned that it's not like KL, but actually it's almost like KL, I believe, because it's not that far Thailand. They are in the same climate zone. So basically the sand path is the same. Almost. Small difference, which will not make a huge impact on your architectural strategies. Anyway, I have noticed your building is elevated. Maybe I didn't follow, but why it's not? Why it's elevated from the ground? You mentioned.
It is elevated from the ground because I actually try as much as possible to keep all of the most, if not all, of the existing buildings in place. Overall, I only demolished one building, which is here in the middle, as I needed to establish the connection between the observatory and the institution, and the building was being too much of an obstacle.
So below this massing, what do we have below that elevated massings?
Below the elevated massing, these are
no, on the left. On the left. Sorry, on the right. On the right.
On the right.
Yeah.
Because we did not manage to go to the site to do the site analysis, all our site analysis were only based on Google Maps and stuff. So that building was an unidentified building. However, I only managed to find out that this building on the very right, it is accommodation place. But this building that I demolished, it was unidentified. And I could not use the Google Street View function to look into it because the roads were only limited to here. Yeah.
What else?
Can I see your session for observatory? Do you do that?
Observatory?
Yeah.
Because my main proposal was for the institution, I did not manage to make a section for the observatory. However, I do have a section for the institution.
Since you talk too much about detailing regarding, for example, the cylindric element, could you go to the detail of that cylindric element that you are using in the very beginning? And you mentioned it can open, so it's like show me. Show me this one. So why it will open? Why you need it to open or to move like this?
Did not detail the mechanism out in this piece. I did for our BuTech assignment, but I did not put it in this presentation. But why I wanted it to move was also to ventilate firstly to ventilate the inside of the building, and secondly to see how the reflection and pattern will change when I move it across different angles.
Okay, and if this element was in reality, do you think will we need to move it manually or automatically, or how it will function?
I think mechanically.
To open it as we open windows like this?
By implementing a mechanism, I believe that when the user pulls a string or any kind of cord behind it, if it's properly mechanized, then it will be able to move, because these panels are quite heavy also.
Yeah. Generally, things like this technology, generally they are automatic. There is actually many real examples nowadays, and generally there is sensor. Since you said it will move based, you want to ensure more ventilation, right, for your space you mentioned. So depending on the temperature inside, there is sensors. They can measure the temperature. And of course, these sensors are connected to the mechanism. So when the temperature increase, for example, to a certain degree, so the window should open. So basically the mechanism will move depending on the sensor. Same thing, sometimes depending on the sun position. I think you mentioned also sun position. They can, right? They can move depending on the sun position, or?
Yes. When it is attached to the facade assembly.
Yeah, because you have to be very clear what is the objective of this movement, not just for fun. It should
because
be.
More importantly than that, I also designed the movement of this mechanism in a manner that reflects the textile weaving machine, or the tool that is used by the women of Pai pattern to weave out the fabrics. I wanted to reflect that movement in the ornament building element.
Can I see how do you implement this on your plan or on your building?
On my building. It will be on plan. It will be located.
Layout plan, please.
Layout plan. It will be located here. You see these 5 dots. Because the ornament, the detail of the ornament is too detailed, too many lines, then it only appears as a black dot.
So is it? But you didn't design this building